I shared this tweet on Twitter a while back, but I thought I would make a video about it because it is fascinating. It really does give a little bit of an idea of what our hard numbers are when it comes to what the sales are like on Switch versus PS4. This is something I've been talking about and observing for years, but if anything, the gap seems to have widened considerably as the years have gone by and the Switch has gotten more and more established. This tweet from Mike Rose finally had our first PS4 launch last week. If you're wondering whether smaller games sell on PS4 right now, our opening weekend sales on PS4 were 5% of our Nintendo Switch opening weekend sales. Haha. AKA we barely sold anything at all on PS4. Quite frankly, I doubt we'll put any more games on PS4 after this. I'd heard it was bad, but holy fuck, not even close to the sales we're achieving on Switch and Xbox. This is huge. This is a big deal here. We are in an environment where third-party games from indies and major third-party publishers, they're generally doing a lot better than they are on Switch over PS4. The Switch audience is eager for more games. They want to try new things. They want to acquire more. They want to try. They're fans of all sorts of genres. They encompass a wide range of users of all skill levels. Like you have people like me who play like super hardcore shit, platinum games, Punch Out Wii, Wario Land Shake It. Hardcore Nintendo fans, right, who play everything they put out. You have, like, Animal Crossing fans who put 300 hours into New Horizon week 1. You have people just, who want to play Smash, ARMS, Splatoon 2, Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild. There really is just an endless barrage of great games on this platform, and the audience has drifted. Like, even if people own PS4s, I'm noticing more and more that people are primarily playing their Switch as a primary platform because the games are just better, and most of the best games on both platforms are just more desirable on Switch. And then I do think this is going to be the thing with PS5 when it comes out, is that there's not going to be anything it does that the Switch and PS4 isn't already doing. So basically, we're going to end up with the same problem, in which third-party developers are going to sell better on Switch over PS4. Over PS5, excuse me. Like, we are at this era now. We are essentially at the point where the PlayStation brand has whittled away to nothing. Like, they've lost all their classic IPs. They don't have Metal Gear Solid. They don't have Final Fantasy. They don't have Silent Hill. They don't have Suikoden. They don't have Mega Man. They have nothing. They have nothing. Besides maybe Resident Evil, but Resident Evil's a multi-plat, and that really should have been on Switch anyway. Like, it's... Nobody seriously thinks we're going to get, like, a good new Kingdom Hearts, a good new, like... a good new anything, really. Like, a game from a Western studio, like new IPs, nothing. Like, nobody is optimistic about the future of PlayStation. All anybody is buying a PlayStation for is for the power and games like GTA 5 and Call of Duty. But with Call of Duty going free-to-play, with more and more of these online multiplayer games going free-to-play, Call of Duty isn't going to be a thing anymore either. So, we're at the point... I think, where PlayStation really can't compete with Nintendo, because Nintendo is basically doing all the things that PlayStation is doing. There's no real super desirable feature PlayStation can add that Nintendo Switch can't do at this point. Like, PlayStation can't, like, for example, slap on a streaming service to their console and get it to sell, because every device out there can stream movies. Like, they can't have it stream music. They can't have it. They can't create a new format. Like, PlayStation Now has been a disaster. Like, people don't talk about it, but the Xbox Game Pass, despite being considerably younger, is already far more popular than PlayStation Now ever was, and that was supposed to be a major next-gen platform for them. they were trying to phase out the console entirely for this generation, and they couldn't do it. Like, the technology just isn't there yet, and it seems that Nintendo and Xbox, and I suppose PC is well ahead of them on this point. Without their hardware, right? PlayStation has no branding. Like that's it. Like, you only bought a PlayStation for all these third-party games that you just had to play. You just had to play Grand Theft Auto. You just had to play Resident Evil. You just had to play Final Fantasy VII. Like, that's what you bought PlayStation for. And you stuck around with it because you were told that, like, oh, this is way better than Nintendo, even though it isn't. It never has been, and it never will be. I don't think PlayStation can continue to put out consoles. I really don't. Like, at this point, I do expect we're going to reach the point where Nintendo is going to be the only platform developer. Xbox is already on the way out with the Xbox Game Pass. But PlayStation, aside from, like, if PlayStation did not have the backing of Sony, a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate, like, they would not be able to compete. Like, the difference in branding, the difference in popularity between Nintendo and PlayStation, it's insane. It really is. It really is insane how quickly, like, people jump onto PlayStation and then just drop off. Meanwhile, people like me will, for years afterward, talk about Wario Land, talk about, Metroid, the classics, right? The classics that necessarily didn't sell well, the Pikmins, the F-Zeros, the Star Fox. Like, those games are better than what PlayStation puts out. I don't know how you could argue against it. And you really can't when you get right down to it. I find it really, really embarrassing at how people continue to present this narrative that PlayStation is dominating the console industry. They're not, and they really never have. All they've been doing is just shelling money, paying off third-party developers, and trying to make Nintendo go third-party. Do you know where, like, going? You know where the idea that where Nintendo should go third-party came from? Like, from gaming journalists, right? It was from people trying to get Nintendo to develop games on PlayStation in order to suit PlayStation's bottom line of being the only major video game developer. And they failed. Like, they couldn't kill Nintendo, they couldn't kill Xbox, and now the gaming industry, I think, has grown past them. There is no appeal for PlayStation at all in the modern era. And simply put, normies, normal customers, aren't quite aware of that yet, but we are well on the path to that happening.